Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, I want to talk about one of the most misunderstood businesses in the local economy, the pawn shop. On the surface, a pawn shop looks like a place where people bring in valuables, get quick cash, and maybe find a bargain on something inside the store. But underneath that surface is a much more complex business model. A pawn shop is not just a resale store, it is a collateral based liquidity business that turns personal property, urgency, and short term financial stress into loan fees, forfeitures, and resale margin. Most people think pawn shops in a very simple way. They imagine jewelry in a window, go behind the counter, and customers either selling an item or borrowing a little cash until they can come back. They may think of it as a neighborhood quick cash store or just a place full of secondhand goods. That is the visible story. But the hidden story is that the pawn shop is constantly pricing risk, urgency, and resale value all at once. The item is never just an item, it is either collateral, inventory, or profit. The bargain side of the business reminds us that pawn shops serve more than one type of customer. One person comes in needing money fast, another person walks in hoping to find a deal. The same store that handles somebody's short term financial stress may also function like a discount retail outlet for shoppers looking for sneakers, electronics, jewelry, or tools. This is why the pawn is such a unique hidden business model. One person's emergency can become another person's bargain. What is really going on is not just buying and selling, it is a three-part system. First, the shop can lend against an item as collateral. Second, it can buy the item outright from someone who needs money now. Third, it can resell items that were brought in cheaply or forfeited after a loan was not repaid. So, the visible product is quick cash. The hidden business is pricing urgency through property while protecting the downside through conservative valuation. The retail inventory layer is another important truth. Pawn shops often look like ordinary stores once you go inside. Guitars, speakers, tools, electronics, and household items line the shelves. That can make people forget that many of these goods enter the business through a very different path than normal retail. Some were sold under pressure, some were never pledged and not redeemed. So, what looks like ordinary inventory may actually be the end result of a collateral and distress based transaction. The appraisal counter captures the heart of the business. At the pawn counter, value has to be judged quickly. The customer has seen memory, sentiment, or full market worth in the item. The shop has to see recoverable value. Can it be resold? How liquid is it? How much can safely be lent against it without losing money if the customer never returns? That is why the pawn shop is not simply generous or harsh, it is disciplined. Its survival depends on valuing uncertainty under time pressure. This is where the business becomes human. The person at the counter is often not there because they made an ideal financial plan. They are there because they need money now. The item may carry emotional value, personal history, or family meaning, but the shop cannot price memory. It can only price resale and collateral value. That creates one of the deepest tensions in the whole business. The customer may experience the transaction emotionally, the shop must experience it financially. Certain items matter so much more in this business. Gold, jewelry, watches, and precious metals are attractive because they hold concentrated value in a small physical form. They are easier to store, easier to price, and often easier to resell than many bulky household goods. So while the pawn shops may take many categories of property, the hidden business becomes strongest when the item is portable, recognizable, and liquid enough to turn back into money quickly. Pawn shops are a deeply local business. They often sit right in the neighborhoods where people know they exist, know what they do, and know they can go there when cash gets short. that local visibility matters. A pawn shop does not have to persuade the customer of some abstract future value. It only has to be available when financial pressure becomes immediate. In that sense, pawn is part of the local emergency money infrastructure, even if it carries a certain stigma. The final takeaway is that the pawn shops do much more than lend money or sell used goods. They convert personal property, financial urgency, and short-term distress into fees, forfeited assets, and resale margin. This is what makes this such a strong hit business model. The visible product is quick cash. The hidden business is pricing urgency through collateral. And maybe the deepest truth is this: a pawn shop exists where personal possessions stop being just possessions and start becoming temporary financial leverage. At the pawn shop, an item can move from memory to collateral to merchandise. Thank you.